Hi, First Parish. For this week's musical meditation, I wanted to share excerpts of Franz Liszt's cycle, Via Crucis. Via Crucis is the Stations of the Cross. And for those who might not be familiar with it, it is a Catholic tradition that takes place on Good Friday, which is when we celebrate Tenebrae every year, in which people will go around a sanctuary or a church where there are pictures or sculptures depicting 14 moments leading up to Christ's death. In this tradition, one walks to this station, observes the painting or the sculpture, reads a reading, reads some prayers together, perhaps sings a song, spends some time in silence, and then moves on to the next station. In his set of pieces, Via Crucis, Liszt takes this cycle, takes this tradition of the Stations of the Cross, and creates a musical interpretation of them. And for today, I wanted to share 3 of these stations. The first station I'm sharing is station number 6. In this station, Jesus meets the woman Veronica. Now, in the story of the Stations of the Cross, Veronica is one who comes out of the crowd and steps into harm's way to wipe the face of Jesus from sweat and blood. And, as the legend goes, Jesus' face was left in her cloth. So there was an imprint or an image of his face in that cloth. In Liszt's telling of this station, we hear him set Bach's chorale, O Sacred Head Thou Wounded, which, for those of you who have attended our Tenebrae service, you'll recognize. It is a hymn we sing every single year. The second station I want to play today is station number 8, and that is where Jesus encounters the women of Jerusalem. Now, in this station, the women are crying and weeping and just totally filled with grief over Jesus' upcoming death. And he assures them not to cry and that there is hope on the other side. Now, what's really striking to me about Liszt's interpretation of this station is it begins with this true sense of musical weeping. We hear these very sensitive chords and these descending patterns that really represent weeping and sobbing. But what becomes really interesting to me is how the station ends not in sorrow, but ends with great confidence and strength. For Liszt, these women were models of strength, and he shows that with some of the strongest writing in the entire cycle. The final station I'm going to play is station number 14, where Jesus is laid into the tomb. Now, in this station, as you would expect with the subject matter, it is pretty isolated, it is dark, it is filled with grief. But what Liszt does in this that I find super interesting is he throws in this glimmer of hope, this moment where you're just sure everything is going to work out. And of course, that hope is an allusion to Easter Sunday, when when Jesus raises from the dead and is resurrected. And Liszt, though, does not stay in this moment of hope for very long. It's just super fleeting, super quick, and then goes back to this feeling of loneliness and darkness. Almost as if to say, was this hope real? Is this hope well-founded? Is there really hope after all? Now, of course, we know in the Easter story that there is hope, but this story takes place still on Good Friday, when the people at the time knew not if there was any hope. Maybe this was it. So here are 3 stations of Liszt's cycle Via Crucis.